Have you ever looked out your window on a dark, clear night and noticed something strange, like a spiral of lights slowly engulfing the dark or a train of stars creeping across the sky? Sometimes the things we see look so odd, we think we must have imagined them. But even people who manage to capture things like this on camera find they can't be easily explained. With that, let's dive into the rabbit hole of unsettling sky phenomena caught on camera that are hard, but hopefully not impossible to explain. The strange spiral. On December 9th, 2009 at 6:45 a.m., Norway's sky lit up, not with a sunrise, but with an inexplicably huge, swirling spiral. It gradually got bigger and bigger, growing alarmingly in size, with an ominous blue tail of light streaming behind it. But just 10 minutes later, it vanished. It sounded too weird to be real, but multiple people caught the phenomena on camera, and footage of this strange spiral made it onto news broadcasts all around the world. It had lasted too long to be a meteor, and there were too many images of it from multiple angles for it to be a hoax. Some suggested it was a failed experiment designed to weaponize the weather, and it didn't take long for a few eccentric people to claim it was aliens welcoming in Obama's presidency. Well, disappointingly, it wasn't aliens. You can take your tin hats off now. The next day, Russia's defense military disclosed that it had test launched a Bulava of ballistic missile from a nearby submarine. A nozzle on the missile's third stage engine was damaged, causing the exhaust to jet out sideways, spinning the missile round in a spiral pattern. Simulations were made up like this one to see if this explanation was plausible, and thankfully it was. Actually, thankfully might be the wrong word. Yeah, learning this was a big ballistic missile test gone wrong doesn't feel that reassuring. In the early morning hours of February 7th, 2022, the skies over Cuauhtémoc City in the Mexican state of Chihuahua were clear. Suddenly, a flock consisting of thousands of yellow-headed blackbirds plummeted from the sky and crashed into the ground without warning. The incident stunned local residents, leaving them puzzled. Various speculations arose regarding the cause of the mass descent. Some suggested the possibility of the flock encountering a power line and being electrocuted, while others attributed it to high pollution levels in the area. However, experts proposed a different explanation. The flock may have been chased by a predatory bird, causing them to fly low and become disoriented, ultimately leading to the crash. Despite this leading theory, alternative explanations for the sudden behavior of the birds remain open for discussion. Got any ideas? Let me know what you think down in the comments. Red sprites. Lightning storms are incredible to watch from a distance, but sometimes they bring more than bolts of bright, white electricity with them. Keep watching. Did you see that? Let's slow it down a touch. Right there, those weird red streaks. But this isn't a glitch in this guy's camera. Back in 2015, NASA captured an image of a similar red flash from space hovering directly above a storm. These flashes aren't lightning, that's for sure. So what are they? It turns out these are called red sprites. They may look like they're on the same level as the storm, but they're flashes that occur in the mesosphere, some 150,000 feet above the storm itself. While they look quite small on camera, the sprites can actually reach some 30 miles across. But what exactly are they? Well, the short answer is, scientists don't know for sure. What they do know is that red sprites are often triggered by a strong, positive bolt of lightning near the ground. Now, most cloud-to-ground lightning has a negative electric charge, but kind of obviously positive lightning has a positive charge. It only makes up less than 5% of all lightning, but it's up to 10 times stronger than negative lightning. It's so strong that it breaks apart atmospheric molecules into ions, and it's believed these ions smashing into molecules in the air is what creates these sprites and gives them their color. But this is just a theory. Personally, I like to think the lightning strengths are just briefly revealing a few massive invisible jellyfish in the sky. All hail our glorious red jelly overlords. Maybe I've been watching too many sci-fi movies. Red lightning. Okay. We've just covered red sprites. So what's red lightning? This image cropped up on the internet several years ago, with multiple people claiming It was a crazy red lightning storm. Maybe it's just me, but doesn't it look more like the Neo-Tokyo explosion from Akira? The real nerds know what I'm talking about. Back to reality though, and despite the internet claims, this is not a red lightning storm. It's not even in the sky. Sure, it looks like a big red ball of lightning on the horizon, but if you follow that supposed horizon around, you'll see this is actually a crater. That's right, this is volcanic lava, not lightning. While the two couldn't be more different, volcanoes and lightning do have a unique and mesmerizing relationship. When a volcano erupts, fragments of volcanic ash and ice collide at speed in the air, generating static electricity within the volcanic plume. This creates what's known as a dirty thunderstorm. Like regular volcanic explosions weren't terrifying enough already. Starlight Express. Watching the stars is one of my cherished pastimes, especially on warm summer nights when the sky is clear. There's something magical about lying back and taking in nature's light show. If you're fortunate, you might even catch a glimpse of a shooting star. But every now and then, you might witness something truly puzzling, like what I'm about to describe. Now, I'm certainly no astrophysicist, but even I understand that stars are supposed to remain fixed points in the sky. They shouldn't be darting around like trains on tracks. This unusual phenomenon was observed in May 2021 over Washington, and a few months earlier in Brazil. Aldo Machado also reported seeing the same thing. Interestingly, it seemed even closer to Earth on that occasion. Going back to 2020, Ian Taylor in the UK witnessed this exact same occurrence. Despite its appearance, this isn't some attempt by extraterrestrial beings to communicate with us through an interstellar conga line. It's actually the result of Starlink satellites, which are owned and operated by SpaceX. These satellites are part of a network designed to provide internet access coverage across much of the Earth. As of January 2022, SpaceX had launched over 1,900 of these satellites into orbit. They move in coordinated formations resembling train-like lines as the Earth rotates beneath them, catching and reflecting sunlight from the horizon, akin to a series of miniature moons. It's truly remarkable. While some might say the sky's the limit, this certainly takes it to a whole new level. But you know what's not outlandish? Showing your support by hitting those like and subscribe buttons below. With just a couple of clicks, you'll be the first to know when I release new content, including a potential follow-up to this fascinating topic if it garners enough interest. Now, this next one might be my favorite. Your friendly neighborhood black hole. Back in 2019, astronomers released the world's first photograph of a black hole, a point in space where the force of gravity is so strong that even light can't escape it. Considering the speed of light is roughly 186,000 miles per second. That's one powerful hole. For years, complex theories gave us detailed ideas of what this would look like up close, but the sheer scale of this thing is still hard to appreciate. At least it was until footage and images of one of these big black holes hovering over a small Russian town began surfacing on the web back in 2015. It looks like our sun. If our sun was a weirdly ominous donut made of imminent death. Luckily, this was just a simulation created by the Rocksmith Space Agency. But if a black hole was that close to Earth, what would happen? Let's assume the closest black hole to our solar system, the one previously photographed, known as A0620-00, suddenly appeared in our sky. This thing has a mass that's more than 6.5 times that of our sun, but it's only about 45 miles across, meaning it's roughly the same size as a large city. That weighs more than 13.2 octillion tons. Wow, that's a lot of zeros. So the gravity well of this thing is so strong that if it appeared less than 500,000 miles from Earth, a little over double the distance to the moon, it literally ripped the Earth apart. We'd all be gradually destroyed by something that in the night sky would barely look like a dot. So if it appeared this large in the sky, one day, we'd all be dead in a matter of moments. With that said, I'll take our regular old sun over this deadly donut any day. Under the sea sky, clouds are those fluffy, sometimes wispy white things floating high up in the sky. Well, imagine looking up one day and seeing this. Whoa, it's like being underneath a wave in the ocean. But this footage wasn't shot under the sea. It's actually a time lapse of the clouds, covering Augusta, Georgia back in 2015. At the time, there was no name for this incredible phenomenon because it had been witnessed so rarely. But in 2017, the World Meteorological Organization finally gave the Great Rolling Cloud Wave an official name, Undulatus asperatus. This made it the first new cloud formation added to the official cloud atlas in more than 60 years. But what makes those clouds wave like this? While the clouds themselves tend to be low-lying and roll with a specific pattern of weather fronts that create undulating waves in the atmosphere. Depending on how thick the cloud is, the light can make the cloud waves look incredibly oceanic. Suddenly, my massive floating jellyfish theory doesn't sound so mad. A colorful sky. Just about everyone's seen a rainbow at some point in their life. These pretty arcs of color are fairly common, forming in the sky when sunlight is refracted through raindrops splitting white light out into its many different wavelengths. You know what's less common though? Seeing a rainbow that fills the entire sky, or even seeing a cloud stained in rainbow colors. Looks like something made in Photoshop, right? Well, incredibly, these are all real. They're commonly called fire rainbows, although technically, they have nothing to do with fires or rainbows. So what the heck are they? A glitch in the matrix? A sign from some LGBTQI plus friendly aliens? Actually, these are called circumhorizontal arcs, and they belong to the ice halo phenomenon family. Ice halos are rings and arcs of light that appear in the sky when sunlight shines through ice crystals in the air. Circumhorizontal arcs form at the top of these halos when hexagonal-shaped ice crystals drift down from the sky, like leaves from a tree. When the light passes through faces of the ice crystals that are 60 degrees to one another, the light is refracted out into its rainbow-like components. Depending on the density of these ice crystal clouds, the colors can appear as horizontal rainbow splashes in the sky, but they can also form entire arcs that look like reverse rainbows. Now that sounds like a pretty decent explanation, but then how do you explain something like this? There's no rainbow, there's no patch of iridescent sky. How does that work? Despite looking like an oil spill in the sky, these are an all-natural phenomenon known as polar stratosphere clouds. Now, normally clouds form from condensation in the troposphere, some 49,000 feet above our heads. But as their name suggests, polar stratosphere clouds form in the stratosphere, the second layer of the Earth's atmosphere, that stretches up to 196,000 feet above us. Unlike the troposphere, which contains 99% of the total mass of all water vapor on Earth, the stratosphere is very dry and very cold. Water vapor that manages to reach up to this level freezes to a frost, a negative 117 degrees Fahrenheit, depending on what state the water freezes to, be it ice or a super cold solution. The resulting clouds form these iridescent veils by reflecting sunlight from below the horizon. Pretty. Now, considering all the different ways light can be spectacularly refracted through the atmosphere, that might not be too hard to think an image like this is real. Yeah, that's a tornado, apparently sucking up all the colors of the rainbow, like Mother Nature's own vacuum cleaner. As cool as it looks though, this is 100% fake, I'm afraid. Rainbows occur when light is refracted through millions of water droplets, which then hits our eyes at a very precise angle. But tornadoes can't suck up light. They're not that powerful. So this is likely just a cute composite of two images, but rainbows and tornadoes, who are in this case a water spout, can occur in the same place at the same time. And I'd argue that that's actually way more impressive. Thanks for joining us today.